Today we're going to talk about the 5 habits I put in place to stop me from spending frivolously or spending money on things that are not necessary or budgeted for. My name is Elle, and I'm on a personal finance journey to stop spending, start saving, and get out of debt. I am a former shopaholic, and this is what I did to curb that habit. Number 1, the YouTube algorithm. The beautiful thing about social media and YouTube is that they learn your interests and your likes very quickly. So when you start watching something, they're going to serve that to you, and they're going to keep serving it to you more and more. So for like 12 years, I was addicted to watching fashion hauls and makeup reviews and makeup declutters and fashion declutters and fashion tips. And the more and more I watched, the more and more YouTube served to me. And I listened to them in the car. I listened to them when I got ready. And I had my favorite YouTubers. Some of them were like Tati Westbrook, Michelle Wong, Alana Davidson, and there were a few others that I just like to watch every single week. And they're not intentionally like making you buy things, but what I didn't realize, which is obvious to me now, I'd watch these videos on whatever the topic was, and then I would all of a sudden become fixated on buying that thing or using that thing or wearing that thing. And so if they were reviewing, outfits or doing like a summer shopping haul, and they reviewed something that I like, I would go out and be like, oh, it's only $100 on a dress. So I would go buy that dress. And I remember being at Sephora with my girlfriend, I think it was during Christmas, and for every dollar you spend at Sephora, you get a point. And we went into the store one day, and they were like, oh, you have 3,200 points. Would you like to use any? And I use them often. And she looks at me and she's like, does that mean that you recently spent $3,200 at Sephora? And I was like, yeah. Like, so freaking stupid. It's just like, she looked at me like I had 5 heads. And I looked at her like, what's the big deal? So what I started doing is like, I just stopped watching any of those videos altogether. And honestly, in the beginning, it was really hard because I grew to like, I had a parasocial relationship with these women, and I just enjoyed listening to them and watching them and knowing like what was new, what was like coming up, and or like current trends. But I was like, if I'm going to kick this, I cannot be inundated with new stuff all the time. So I basically just stopped watching all of them, and instead only watched, and I even do this now up until this day, I only watch things on self-development. So Evan Carmichael, I like Chris Williamson, I like Alex Hormozy on business, and a few others. And I watch Ramit Sethi on personal finance, and then there are a few YouTube channels I watch for marketing because I'm in marketing for a job. And so anything that propels my personal growth in some way, then I will watch a video. If it doesn't push me forward, then I don't watch it. And the YouTube algorithm has quickly learned that, and they don't serve me any beauty gurus anymore, which is great. 2, promotional emails. This is a tried and true. I think a lot of people are aware of this, but remove the promotional emails. And even if I'm like scrolling in YouTube or Facebook, I hide the ads. Like if I see ads coming up right now, it was just the 4th of July. I see a ton of ads, and I clicked on a few and did a little perusing. Luckily, I didn't buy anything. So I hid those ads. And then anytime I have promotional emails come through, I send it to spam, or I just like put it into another folder so I don't see it. Rarely do I see any like sales coming on, because that will get me. If I see like 25% off or 50% off at one of my favorite stores, Reese was just having a 50% off sale. I was like, oh, Veronica Beard was just having a sale, but I didn't do it. And if I get the desire to shop or like just kind of like peruse the website, because I used to do that all of the time. I used to just scroll different different shopping websites. Now I just go on to Rent the Runway because I'm a member of Rent the Runway, and I just look on their app because I'm already paying for it and just see like what's new and what's interesting and what's reviewed, and that usually kind of curbs that need to go shopping. I quit alcohol. This is interesting. This is a side effect of not drinking alcohol that I had not anticipated. I've tried to quit alcohol many times. I don't think I have a problem. I would have a few drinks at dinner on the weekends, and then like 1 or 2 weekdays a night, I would have like a glass of wine with dinner. But I wanted to just try to like stop altogether, but I enjoy the social aspect of it. I like it as a social lubricant. It's a thing that most people do as a thing to do on the weekends. And so I kept trying and trying, and it never really stuck. And then recently, I got sick not too long ago, really sick. And I don't know what happened, but I just kind of was like, I don't really feel like drinking, so I'm just not going to drink. And my boyfriend's fine with it. He was like, okay. And I just haven't had a drink. And it's been like 65 days since. So I quit alcohol. And why this changed my shopping habits is because if we would have a drink with dinner, afterwards, we would often like put a movie on or something, and both of us, bad habit, I know, but we scroll on our phones like while we have the TV on for a little while. And if I'm drinking, I have no self-control, and I think everything is a great idea. And so I'll just start shopping, and I'll just be like, I'll buy that and that and that. And then I wake up the next day and I'm like, oh, I don't go too crazy, but I do buy things that I don't necessarily need or want, and I'm definitely not thoughtful about it. If I have even one glass of wine, I just think everything is just a great deal, great buy, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. So I click buy, and I don't do that at all anymore, which is great. So bonus for not drinking alcohol. Limit social media scrolling in general. I do hide the ads, but I still follow some of these gurus and people on social media, and things pop up in my feed, and I'll be like, oh, I like that dress, or I like that shirt. And there's so many different people that like review clothing online on Instagram, and a lot of these like Instagram people make this clothing look great. So basically what I do is social media is part of my job, so I can't cut it out completely, but I limit the amount of scrolling when it's not work related. And now, instead of scrolling for pleasure, I go onto Reddit, and I've come to love Reddit so much. And I belong to a lot of subreddits, all of them based around personal development, marketing tactics, or personal finance, and like the FIRE community. And so if I have some free time where I want to like let my brain go, instead of just like mindlessly looking at things and like wanting to buy more stuff, I go onto Reddit, and then I read a few articles. And then by the time I'm done, I don't feel the need to scroll, and I can move on to whatever I'm doing. So quit scrolling. The next one is that I try to remove emotion from shopping, and I just realized that I did this. This is very interesting. I want to say I read this in Morgan Housel's book, The Psychology of Money, but I can't be positive. And basically it says that like when you want to buy something, let's just say an outfit, because I did this a lot, I'll think of my fantasy self. So I'll see this dress, and realistically I might not wear it a lot, but like I'll think about what I'll be doing when I'm wearing that, and how I'll feel and how I'll look. And then all of a sudden that dress becomes like something I have to have in my wardrobe. When if you think about your day-to-day, in reality, that dress is probably not going to make that much of a difference or impact in your life. It might serve a purpose for a little while, but it's actually not that big of a deal, and you don't really need it. And that applies to anything. So like thinking about your actual self instead of your fantasy self. I do not let myself daydream about using or wearing that thing anymore. I try to look at it for its practical purpose, and that's it. So here are the things I do to quell that. I don't think about myself, my fantasy self. I ask myself, I did this recently because I went into where I work. I have an office that I go to 2 days a week, and where I work, it's very challenging. Right in front of me is a Ralph Lauren. To my left is a Lily Pulitzer. Right behind me is a Veronica Beard. And then right in front of me, to the side, is a Sarah McLaughlin. Wait, I think that's a singer. Sarah Campbell, maybe? I'm surrounded by clothing stores, basically, if it comes down to it. So I do this for online, and then if I actually go into a store, I'm like, what do I have? Is it so special that I don't own anything else like it? Probably not. What do I have that is something similar that I can wear? And most of the time, I will either find something on Rent the Runway that I can rent and try out, or I have something in my closet already that I can wear and I don't need that item and it's definitely not special enough where I need to buy it. And then the other thing I'm really doing, especially with like any beauty item in personal hygiene, one in, one out. So if I buy something, it has to replace something. And I'm really trying to do this with clothing and shoes. So if I want to buy something, I think of what can I get rid of? And do I want to get rid of anything to get that into my closet? More often than not, it's no. And I also try to consider like how many ways I could use it practically day to day. And sometimes it works. Like sometimes I'm like, yes, I can get rid of this. And sometimes I'll be like, yeah, I can actually wear this literally every day. And so it might be worth it. Most of the time, it's not. And then the last one, comparison is the thief of joy is something, it's a saying, Theodore Roosevelt maybe, but I heard it from, he might have said it, but I heard it from Brene Brown. Comparison is a thief of joy. What I used to do up until recently is like I would be out and I work and live in affluent areas, and I would just see people all the time, women like with cute shoes or dresses and or bags, and I would just be like, oh, like they're so lucky, like I want that. And then if I see like a Chanel bag or like really cute shoes, then I'll look them up and I'll be like, I need to have them. They look great. Like they look great on her fantasy self. They'll look great on me, you know? And so now I really just try to not look at the person for what they're wearing, just look at them for like who they are. If I don't know them, I just try not to judge at all, like good or bad. I just blank slate almost. I don't look at their clothing that much anymore, but here's what actually shifted recently is that if I do, and this was unconscious, like I did not intentionally try to make myself think this, but this is interesting, is that now I actually look at them. I see a lot of Chanel bags, Louis Vuitton bags, and now I look at it and I'm like, I don't look at it with jealousy or eagerness to buy. I look at it like it's such a waste of money. God, like that $2,000 bag could have been savings or something else. I just don't look at it with envy like I used to, which is nice. It's really nice that my mindset has shifted that way and it didn't take too much effort for that to happen. So those are the ways that I have quit spending money. I'm way more conscious about it now, honestly. It's totally different. It's like the person I was 4 months ago compared to who I am now feels like night and day in the best way possible. I just want to say too, like I still think about buying a lot of things. I'm going to make a list. I'm going to write down a list of all of the things I want to buy and think about buying on a daily basis, and I'll make a video about it. It's pretty interesting because I do think about a lot of things I want to buy, but the difference is that I quickly quell that. Like I know, I can hear the voice in my head and I know what's happening, and then I just like cut it out and I stop it, which is good. So, all right, there it is. Talk to you next time. Thanks. See ya. Bye.